chances at an upset in the Dome. And the Saints are 6-2. Coming up, we'll have a full report on Sunday's win over Tampa Bay. We'll profile another Saints Pro Bowl candidate, guard Jim Dombrowski. We'll talk to a revitalized Dalton Hilliard. And the Wild Thangs, 3,000 pounds of offensive linemen pose for a new poster. Take a walk on the wild side with Saints Sideline next.
Saints Sideline, brought to you by Midas. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody. Your local Isuzu dealers. Budweiser, nothing beats Saints football and nothing beats a Bud. And by Lennox, it must be a Lennox.
This is an exclusive presentation of WGNO Sports. Ed Daniels, Alexander Laurent, Saints Sideline.
Hello and thank you for joining us on Saints Sideline. I'm Alexander Laurent.
And I'm Ed Daniels.
And the Saints clearly didn't play their best football yesterday against the Buccaneers, but the bottom line is the final score. The Saints pulled out a win, but it was a squeaker.
It was a squeaker. They'd rather be lucky than good. At least that's what I'm told. And some big news came out of Phoenix later in the day. The Cardinals beat the 49ers, so the Saints and the 49ers now have identical 6-2 records at the halfway point in the season. You like that? And the Saints overcame a couple of key drop passes and 4 turnovers to hold off pesky Tampa Bay for their 4th straight win, 23-21.
3 Bobby Hebert interceptions, 2 thrown to Broderick Thomas. A costly fumble, a drop TD pass, and an illegal hands to the face on Derek Kennard that wiped out a score. Enough mistakes to spell doom, right?
What luck? You ever see good teams are lucky. Good team. You ever seen a bad team that was lucky? How long have you been covering sports?
15 years.
Have you ever seen a bad team that was lucky? I haven't.
Tampa Bay had only 15 net yards in the first half, yet trailed only 10-7. The Bucs turned 2 Saint third-quarter turnovers into a 21-20 lead. Next possession, the Saints get a 50-yard field goal from Morten Andersen and make it stand up.
People can say what they want about us being 6-2 and it's ugly and we win ugly, but it's still a W, and I'll say that every week when we have a W.
I mean, this is the NFL. It's not Prairie View against Texas. This is the NFL. They got guys out there that can play. I mean, I'm not going to take no crap from a win. I mean, if we lost, it's different, but we won the game, so I'm not going to sit back and say anything negative.
Woo! It's all about winning. Shortly after Jim Mora's club walked off the field 6-2, San Francisco quarterback Steve Young left the game at Phoenix with the flu. 49ers lost 24-14. Was Phoenix lucky or good?
How many times do you come off the field, man, those guys were lucky? That's what I want teams saying every week. Man, those guys were lucky. Because that's what losers say. Those guys were lucky. Good teams are lucky.
Sports writers in the Tampa area are not only down on the Buccaneers' play, they're also criticizing the way the team accepted the defeat. Here's what they're saying. Gary Sheldon of the St. Petersburg Times writes, a football team with teeth. The Saints, for instance, would have walked off the Superdome field snarling if it had lost the way Tampa Bay lost on Sunday. Here it was, on the verge of upsetting one of the NFL's better teams, and the game slipped out of the Bucs' hands and fell harmlessly to the turf. The Bucs? It was all they could do to keep from thumping their chests. Yippee! They lost close. Someday, maybe those mistakes and this defeat will eat at Tampa Bay players like acid dripping into their heart. Someday, when the record improves, perhaps their standards will do the same. In the meantime, they aren't really climbing. But when you're falling toward earth, any reduction of speed is welcome.
One of the big keys to Sunday's win was the running of Dalton Hilliard. Hilliard has shaken off a couple of injury-filled seasons to once again put up big numbers. His 2-touchdown Sunday gave him 46 in his career, 2 more than Eric Martin, and more than any player in team history.
His 17-yard third-quarter touchdown run was as good as any in Dalton Hilliard's career, a career that's on the upswing, surprising many but Hilliard himself.
Most definitely, it had to be a lot of doubt. I've been injured the past 2 years, and injury is something you can't do anything about. They just occur. Once I'm healthy, I have the confidence and think I can play with the best in the league.
Hilliard rushed for 55 yards on 14 carries, caught 5 passes for 60 yards, including this 8-yarder from Bobby Hebert in the first quarter. While Hilliard starred, rookie number 1 pick Von Dunbar's fumble gave the Bucs life in the third quarter.
Jim, has Hilliard earned the starting spot?
I don't make decisions like that right after the games, Ed.
I'm just going through, you know, that thing rookies experienced early. All the guys got on me, you know, it's like, hey, every week, it's a new week.
Vaughn is our starting running back, and I like the rotation. I don't think we need to change anything.
Our offense stunk up the dome, and if it wasn't for Dalton, you know, I don't know where we would have been today.
Up next, take a walk on the wild side with the Saints offensive line as they shoot the Wild Thang poster. Stick around for more of Saints Sideline.
Sideline teamed up with the Saints defensive backs to create the Sky Patrol poster. This year, it's time for a new poster, and it's the offensive linemen's turn at glory. Here they are, Wild Thangs. Thang poster would be a look that commanded attention, and the proper tools would be necessary. Boomerang would supply the clothing for real authenticity.
I'm going all the way, baby. I got the scores. This is going to be totally awesome.
For the look of the poster, we had to make some changes on Steve Trapillo.
Like a new kid. A little more realistic. A little more. Here. A little more.
Wait a minute. That's the look I'm looking for. It would now be time to move everything into place. Harley Davidson of New Orleans would carefully adjust the bikes, and it was now time to get serious. Carefully placing each player into position, it had to have the proper balance, the proper look. Bernardo Photography would capture the moment.
Here we go. Hold that. Hold that. Hold that.
This is sort of your thing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You know, I like to ride. I'd say myself and Stan Brock, you know, we both have bikes, and even Gene McGuire has a bike. And, you know, we like to ride. There's a lot of good riding to be done around New Orleans, and a pretty good gang of guys that ride. So,
what do you think about the poster?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good poster. I saw some of the Polaroid shots, and it looks pretty good. I think it'll be a good image for the offensive line.
You sort of really got into this, Derek.
Yeah, this was, you know, we gave them the authentic look of this Harley Davidson biker deal poster here. I think it's going to come out pretty well, and it'll be very marketable out there.
I've ridden for a little while. Joel is, and I have always been in the Harley, so this is something that's fun. I'm glad the whole offensive line was involved with it. It'll be something that we enjoy for a long time. I know some of us are getting older, might not be here very much longer, but so this will be something we can enjoy forever.
That's what we want. That's great. I love it. I love it. All that.
And here it is, the Wild Thang poster. Take a look at this one, Ed. You know, many of the guys are cycle enthusiasts, so this was really exciting for them, and they look pretty mean here.
Yeah, they look kind of angry, but they're all nice guys. You'll vouch for them, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And hopefully they won't run into the same trouble that the Sky Patrol did. A bunch of those guys left after you made the poster last year.
That was after the season, Ed.
After the season. It wasn't after the poster. I thought you'd want to clarify that.
Yeah.
All right, the Wild Thang poster is available at all New Orleans area Supercuts. The poster is free with a shampoo and a haircut.
Up next, we'll profile one of those Wild Thangs. Guard Jim Dombrowski. Stay with us for more of Saints Sideline.
Despite picking up more than 300 total yards, the Saints offense made just enough mistakes to keep the Bucs in the game Sunday. But after Tampa took the lead in the fourth quarter, the Saint offense got the job done driving for the game-winning field goal.
With 1:21 to play in the third quarter, Bobby Hebert was intercepted by Marty Carter at the Saint 35-yard line. Then Steve DeBerg handed to Reggie Cobb, who gave the Bucs a 20-14 lead. Tampa Bay then kicked off short. Saints got good field position at the 35. Then 15 more yards on a personal foul call hit by Darrell Fullington on Eric Martin.
Good call.
I mean, it's questionable. All calls are questionable. You know, you just make up, those guys just make up their mind, and, you know, they just decide to throw the flag. But, you know, it worked out well for us.
Quinn Early dropped a touchdown pass, but Morten Andersen hit the game winner from 50 yards out. The Saints drove 32 yards for winning points.
50 yards. Perfect.
Bobby Hebert was sacked just one time Sunday, which means the Saints have only given up 9 sacks through 8 games. It doesn't get much better than that. One of the reasons for the success of the offensive line has been the continued development of Jim Dombrowski. As Doug Mouton shows us, Dombrowski has quietly become one of the best guards in football.
You could say durability is one of his strong suits. Sunday's game with the Buccaneers marked the 82nd straight game Jim Dombrowski has started for the Saints. And if that's not enough, he's only missed 1 offensive play in the past 3 seasons. And through that stretch, Dombrowski's gotten better and better. If he's not an all-pro yet, he's definitely close.
He's a tough guy. He's very tenacious. He goes out there, and when he blocks somebody, he tries to knock them down. And he doesn't back down. But I think those are things you have to do to survive in the National Football League. All my guys are pretty tough, but I think his main strength is the ability to go out and study an opponent before the game and play the game plan based on what he's seen on film during that week.
Coming out of the University of Virginia, Dombrowski was considered the nation's best collegiate offensive lineman. But after the Saints made him the 6th player picked in the entire 1986 draft, he had trouble living up to his billing.
When I came in, I made more than my share of mistakes, but I didn't get down on myself. I just sat there and I said, okay, these are the things that I'm doing that are hurting me. This is some of the things that I need to work on, and I'd concentrate on trying to get those new techniques and picking up things that the defensive players want to do so I would be a better football player.
Now in his 7th season in the Superdome, Dombrowski has proven that the Saints made a wise choice, and a Pro Bowl invitation may not be too far off. Dombrowski is beginning to get the recognition that a lot of people in the Saints organization feel that he deserves. Pro Football Weekly calls him one of the best guards in football. But for offensive linemen, recognition comes very slowly.
In the offensive lineman's case, if he's been in the Pro Bowl, it seems like it rolls over every single year. And I think Jim's deserving of it. Now, whether he gets it or not, I really don't know. I have no control over it. He doesn't either. But I think based on this year, he's had an outstanding year for the New Orleans Saints.
Before I'm through with my career, I'd like to get there at least once. So it would mean a lot to me if I was able to get there. But there are a lot more things that are more important. I'd rather win the division championship and go to the Super Bowl and win that one time than to have me go to a Pro Bowl once.
Doug Mouton, Saints Sideline.
Up next, more from Sunday's big win over the Bucs.
And the most impressive 30 minutes of offense in team history when Saints Sideline continues. Before Sunday's game with Tampa Bay, Jim Mora promised that, like Buccaneer coach Sam Wyche, he'd have a few tricks up his sleeve for their matchup. Mora definitely was not lying.
The Saints had some new wrinkles for Tampa Bay. This fake field goal and first down run by holder Tom Barnhart set up the Saints' first touchdown. New Orleans attempted 7 long throws, some aimed at former Saint cornerback Hilton Mack.
I sort of knew, what Coach Moore's philosophy was, and Carl Smith too. I kind of knew that, that thinking about inserting down a distance situation. I knew that they would test me deep. A lot of teams been going up the seam against our secondary, and and they have been successful a few times. So, you know, just knowing the Saints, I knew that they would, you know, test us deep.
I really, in my heart, I think we played the best team in the National Football League today.
Barnhart. Only Sam Weich knows if he was faking or fooling.
Sunday's win makes the Saints 11-4 all-time against Tampa Bay. That's their best overall record against any team in football. One of the Saints' most impressive efforts against the Bucs came back in 1979, the year Tampa Bay made it to the NFC Championship game, as we see in this week's great game in Saints history.
Week 7 of the 1979 season, and Archie Manning's Saints were not off to a great start at 2-4. Meanwhile, Doug Williams and the Bucs were 5-1, mostly on the strength of their defense. They were called the Crunch Bunch, and in the first half, they lived up to the name, as the high-powered Saints attack was held scoreless. But Doug Williams couldn't get the Tampa Bay attack going either. Tommy Myers picks off this pass, and the first half ended in a scoreless tie. The second half was a very different game. First, Williams hits Isaac Hagan to put the Bucs up 7-0. But after that, it was all Saints, as Archie Manning got the offense rolling. Manning keeps here to tie it at 7. Then, Tony Galbraith scores to put the Saints up 14-7. The Saints defense then turned in the big play when, off the deflected pass, Elois Grooms makes the interception. That set up this Manning to Henry Childs touchdown, and the Saints were comfortably in front 21-7, but they were far from done. On the draw play, Tony Galbraith dances 20 yards for his second touchdown and a 28-7 lead. Manning got the Saints close again on the long-range connection to wide-open Rich Smalley. Number 84 makes a nice run after the catch to get the Saints inside the Buccaneers' 10-yard line. That set up Mike Strong's short TD run, and it was 35-7. The Hound added another score later in the fourth as the Saints scored an improbable 6 second-half touchdowns against what was the NFL's #1 defense. 42 points in a half is still a team record as the Saints upset the Bucs 42-14.
There's still a lot more to come on Saints Sideline. Next, we'll look ahead to the Patriot game.
Saints Sideline is furnished by Berry Manufacturing.
As we mentioned earlier, the win over Tampa Bay puts the Saints back at the top of the NFC West with the same record as the 49ers. At 6-2, San Francisco is still technically first in the division because they beat the Saints head-to-head. They'll play Monday night in Atlanta. After that one, of course, the November 15th showdown with the Saints, who are also 6-2. The Falcons got back on the winning track with a tough 30-28 victory over the Rams. But they're still a long way back at 3-5. Los Angeles is now also 3-5, and the Rams host Phoenix Sunday.
Sunday, the Saints hit the road again to Foxborough, Massachusetts to play the winless New England Patriots. The last time the Saints made the trip was back in 1989. The Saints had a huge first half in that one. Dalton Hilliard got the scoring started with his 3-yard touchdown run over the left side. Hilliard ran for 106 yards and 2 scores on the day. It was 7-0 Saints. Now in the second quarter, Bobby Hebert goes to Hobie Brenner. 1-yard touchdown, 14-0. Steve Grogan, remember him? He threw 59 times. This pass here intercepted by the anticipating Brett Maxey. Maxey goes 26 yards for the score. Saints built a 28-0 second quarter lead. It was 28-10 at half. The Saints held on and won it 28-24. Alex, since that game, there have been a lot of changes in New England. They have a new coach, a new quarterback, in effect, a whole new team, and a lot of rumors that one day the new owner may move the Patriots over to St. Louis. So, see how that works out.
Yeah, I heard that rumor, too. They certainly haven't been good so far this year. They've been close a few times, but close just isn't good enough in the NFL. The bottom line for the Patriots is their record, and that record is 0-8, and that's halfway through the season. Their most recent loss was to Buffalo Sunday at 16-7.
It's another game the Saints really should win. But before that, don't forget all the bone-crushing action of Friday night football, the area's most complete coverage of high school football. That's Friday night at 10:30, right here on WGNO 26. I'm Ed Daniels.
I'm Alexander Laurent. We'll see you next week on Saints Sideline.